Yeah, that's the song.
That's that brandy right there. Long distance is killing me. Welcome back to CVM at Sunrise. Do you remember that song?
Yeah, I remember that song.
Love that
From
song.
long time
Yes,
ago?
that's true, that's true.
All right, so we're here to talk about long distance. That is the topic this morning. You know, is it healthy? Can it really work? What are the suggestions? Let's break it down here. I have a beautiful set of ladies here to help me discuss this. And of course, we have Marjorie Gordon right here to my right. Deandra Collando is beside me, and I am Regina Beavers, and to my immediate left we have the beautiful Sadiqa Diaram. Welcome, and thanks for joining us once again to talk about this long distance. I think we have to define what's long, because long is relative. Sharia, a long distance relationship?
As long as there's distance.
If you're living in Kingston,
as long as
yes.
there's distance.
I
as
think
long
so.
as there's distance.
Anybody in a long distance relationship?
Well, not anymore. I've done it, and let me tell you, it just didn't work because I've done it twice, right? And it never worked both times, because most times you don't really have any company. You're always feeling lonely, nobody to attend to your emotional needs sometimes. And this was before Skype and all those things came into being. So it was just a cell phone. And this was before some calling companies had what you call international minutes. So that used to run up your credit all the time.
How far was your love?
Well, one was in one was in California, and then one was in Florida, but they both didn't work out. That was long distance,
but you know, I have to disagree with you. I think that love transcends physical separation. And I think that it's up to the partners to find that creative way to keep in touch. And I think it actually can make the relationship more interesting, because you get the opportunity to miss each other. You have to find ways to be intimate from a distance. And it makes the dynamics just more long-lasting.
Sounds like somebody's in a long-distance relationship. But then, would you would you say your relationship failed because of the distance, or there were other issues?
I would say mostly because of the distance, because I like to get some attention every now and then, because I have physical needs as well, and when you're miles apart, it cannot be addressed.
But I was discussing it with a friend of mine last night, and I really think it can work if there is a plan. You know, it's not going to be an indefinite thing where you're here and I'm there, but if it is you're away, yes, there's a time cap. You're going to be away for this time, and I'm going to visit. There has to be a plan of how you're going to execute, because we're human beings, and naturally we require that physical presence of someone. So I think if you really want it to work, it can work.
But like with technology now and people being able to talk with each other on Skype and so on, then it should be a little bit easier than when you had your relationship without technology aiding you a bit. But I think, like Regina said, I'm not so woo-la-la about what love and it transcends whatever, but I mean, if relationships, you have to work at them like anything else. Just like you have a goal for a career, you have a career goal and you want to attain it, you work at a relationship just like how you work at anything else.
What are some of the negatives though? Because so far I'm only hearing that it's the physical separation that's the issue.
The emotional absence of it.
Not having a person within close proximity to you, even though when it could be in the same space and cheating may occur.
Exactly.
But when they're living miles away, you don't know where they are, you know, and trust becomes affected, because you don't know if this person is, you know, sneaking around. You don't know.
But that's
you don't know what's happening.
But that's an opportunity as well to develop that trust by having that person away from you. Because if he's right here, hello, if he needs to cheat outside, he's gonna do it.
That's true. But it may be impacted more. At least for me, it did.
Because of the distance. Because
yes, this is every time I tried calling him, he would be at some party, or I just couldn't get him. So of course, it
sounds like we're going some napkins.
And you heard before, Sadiqa, that it sounded as if it's not just a distance that caused the relationship to fall apart. There were other factors and other issues.
And that time apart, I think partners should take that opportunity to develop themselves.
That's true.
Know exactly what is it they want from this relationship. If it is a career they need to capitalize on, then do it. Whatever they need to do it. So you are in a good frame of mind to enter into a relationship with someone else, and don't bring your personal baggage and then say, oh, it's because of the distance.
Well, that's true. It offers you more space as well. You don't really have the stress of having anybody somebody nagging you all the time. So that's a good thing. You know, having somebody.
I think you don't need a close relationship. You need a long distance relationship because you're thinking somebody's nagging you.
But if she's in a long distance relationship, she gets jealous and weird and not trustworthy. So I don't know. But you know, that whole nagging thing and space thing, you know, it's something I wanted to get into because you know, I'm a person who definitely loves my space.
Oh yes.
You know?
I think we all love our space.
Yeah, I think as humans, as individuals, we should be
some alone time.
Just you.
That's true.
But why should it take a long distance relationship for us to allow each other to have that space, to have that individuality in a relationship? People tend to think because they're together.
We're joined at the hip.
Yeah, and they have to move forward with everything
But
together.
that's a reflection of the communication in that relationship, because prior to the union, you have to establish that this is how I function, this is how I operate. I want to have my girl time. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to be able to miss you, despite the fact that we're in the same space. If I want to have a sleepover at Regina's house, that should
really.
Well, that makes sense.
That should be fine, but you have to allow yourself to miss the partner.
It depends on the maturity of the individual too, because if your partner, whomever you're associating yourself with, isn't mature enough to say, okay, we both need me time, and where you go off with your guy friends and do your thing, and I go off with my girlfriends, or it could be that the female has guy friends that she goes off with, you know, because women do have male friends.
Right.
But if it's not that the individual is mature enough to deal with this, then you're going to definitely have a problem.
And they will definitely not be able to last in a long distance relationship because you're magnifying the problem by the miles as you go apart.
Right.
All right, but let's say, you know, you have a friend, a boyfriend that lives in, let's say, Ocho Rios, right? Is that you're saying that's considered long distance?
Yes, it is.
Even though they're just an hour away? And they could come up 4 in the morning and leave in the night. They could come every weekend.
How often is that?
They could come every weekend. Is that a long distance relationship?
It is.
Depending on how often you get to see each other as well. But if it's a case where they're commuting on a day-to-day basis, then it's no longer a long distance relationship because the person is there on a day-to-day basis.
But what I like about long distance relationship is that when you actually spend time together, it means a lot more than
that's true.
You have to maximize.
You can have more passion as well.
Get it all out. That could be a negative thing as well, because you almost live in this fairy tale every time
sometimes
you see each other.
Sometimes that's good.
You know, but which is good. It keeps the spark going, you know, so I think it's a healthy thing. But let's, you know, when you come to that bridge where you decide to move
discussion.
on, you're going to be together for extended periods of time. That honeymoon phase that you get to appreciate every time will no longer be there. So it's almost like a false sense of reality. So you have to bear that in mind.
And speaking of that, you may not get to know the person for who they really are because you spend so much time apart. So you may not see like some of the negative. But even so, over the telephone, you may not get to see the person for who they truly are because some things may be hidden.
And
there is no perfect setting.
That can happen. But I think we should view long distance relationship as special as any other relationship. It requires a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of effort, and compromise. Despite the fact that the person might be in your space, relationship is all about compromise. You're taking on somebody who is totally different attributes, and you have to deal with it. Well, we know you need help to get it all out.
You might not know who they are, because you know, you remember when Rosie were here and we're talking about if walls could talk.
Yes.
Some of the things we do as human beings in our rooms by ourselves. By ourselves, right? Things we do, you know, and I even say, I talk to myself, you know, that's one thing that I do, I'll admit to that. I do talk to myself verbally and loudly, you know, audibly. But the things that we do when people aren't there, so, you know, the distance as well gives that person more latitude to be themselves without having them there. And I think that it can cause a problem that when you do decide to come together,
it's gonna be you're so into being you and doing your things your way that it could be
but shouldn't you communicate all of that to your partner to say, this is how I am, this is how I operate?
Can you handle it?
That's true.
Come live with me are two different things.
But I wanted to add as well that some persons abuse a long distance relationship as well. I was making the point earlier about remittances that date persons overseas just because they can get the English pound and the US dollars. And I remember there was this one case where this gentleman in England, he was sending money to this woman in Jamaica Jamaica for years, and then he eventually fell for her. And as soon as she went up there, she just run off, and the man was left heartbroken.
Who said that was a relationship anyway?
That's what it was. One person thinks it's a relationship, you know. You can't say
both parties have to be on the same page for it to be a relationship.
You know, you have men, you know, right, who are in 2 long-distance relationship one time, you know, right?
Or more.
They have a bona fide girl in every country, you know.
But listen,
isn't that taxing on an individual though?
No, really, because you're here in Jamaica.
I guess they're just good players. What can I say?
You're with them. You don't have to be worrying about the other person
meeting up.
Yeah, and you have some women who like that as well. Well, in woman, they are foreign still.
And women settle for that. And women some women like that, of course. But I will maintain that it doesn't matter if there's distance or not. If he needs to have 3 women, he's gonna have 3 women. So don't blame the action. Don't blame it makes it easier. But it is also a personality or a character flaw which you have to address and not address the distance or blame it on the distance.
That's what was happening with Deandra, you see.
I didn't say I'm getting counseling.
The distance isn't a problem. It's a person that you're in the relationship with. So it's safe to say that we're saying that long distance relationships are healthy.
It can be. You have to just know what works for you.
I definitely won't do it, but it can work.
You wouldn't do it? Why not?
I mean, if I'm in a relationship now and that person has to migrate, if there's not a 6-month plan or not even a year, but short-term plan, I'm not down for that at all.
Tell me why.
Because I know my limitations.
It's a physical limitation.
It doesn't matter what it is. I'm just saying. I know my limitations, and I know what I want, and I know what I want in and out of a relationship.
Right, and at the end of the day, you have to be true. You have to be true to yourself. I'm not going to say I wouldn't try a long-distance relationship. I think I would try it. It depends on the individual and what we're working towards and what we want. But it can't be a long-distance relationship indefinitely.
Right.
It has to be. There has to be some time span. Okay, a year, 2 years, 3 years stops.
You're lucky at 2 years, 3 years.
We're not going to go off indefinitely. I say 6 years down the road. Hello, we're not doing that.
That's not a relationship.
But I can think, but over 2 or 3 years, you really get to understand and know the person in other ways that you wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, but come on, if you're not having constant visits, I mean, yes, you can Skype, you can text, you can do all of those fancy stuff, but at the end of the day, if you are a person who requires that emotional connection and that physical connection, then it's gonna drain you. And I don't think because you love this person and you're settling and you're draining, it's toxin for you, you're going to sacrifice all of that because, he wants to be in a relationship.
It's up to the individual.
It's up to the individual.
That's how you feel about it, then, you be honest with yourself and work with it. All right. So that's a wonderful, interesting discussion. Yes. Thank you for your input. You're not going, I just like
and thanks for the counseling as well, Sadiqa.
We can talk about this off camera, Deandra. You should get it all out.
Jeez.
Yeah.
We've been working on her. We're working on her for you.
So next time, so you would never do a long distance again?
No, I can't manage it.
Even after this discussion?
Straight up can't manage it.
High five to that. I'm not going there either.
Jeez.
All right.